Bill in West Hartford, Connecticut. Hi, Bill. Welcome to the show.
Yes, hi, George. Yes, hi. Hi, Robert Zimmerman. I'm an amateur astronomer. I've talked to you many times in the past, and I know space science and astronomy to a T. And I have two great questions out of the most recent Aviation Week in Space Technology magazine, which I've subscribed to for years and years. So I'll ask both questions at the same time and have you answer both. Question number one, regarding the James Webb Space Telescope. In this article, it says Hubble will guide the James Webb Space Telescope in exoplanet observations. So question number one, you talked about Proxima b, the Earth-like planet in the habitable zone of the closest star to our solar system, Proxima Centauri. Question number one, do you think hopefully starting in 2018, almost exactly 2 years from now when James Webb is launched, will it have the capability of looking for biomarkers, meaning life markers, life signs in the atmosphere of Proxima b? Now, question number two, which involves the SLS rocket, which I know you don't like, the Space Launch System rocket and Orion spacecraft. But my point is, and this is question number two, I think what will save the SLS, what will save the Space Launch System, make it worth, give it the bang for the buck, is not so much the manned program in Orion, but 3 space science unmanned missions. The high-definition space telescope, which the SLS will be able to launch definitely because it has a 28 feet diameter core stage. And the other 2 science missions are a orbiter and lander or flyby and lander of Jupiter's moon Europa and an orbiter and lander or flyby and lander of Saturn's moon Enceladus. So question number 2, do you think with the launch of the HDSC high-definition space telescope, which will dwarf the James Webb, let alone dwarf the Hubble, and potentially be launched in the early 2030s, along with the Europa mission and the Enceladus mission, would that maybe pay for the SLS?
Well, Bill, you always ask really great questions.
He does.
I remember you previous times, and I really like it when you call because you do ask good questions. In terms of James Webb, we have to always remember James Webb was designed to look in the infrared, so it will look at different things than Hubble will. Hubble will looks in the optical. Hubble is the telescope that will not die. They just extended its contract, the operational contract, till 2021. So they will hopefully both be in orbit, both operational at the same time, and therefore they really work together, complement of each other. Webb doesn't replace Hubble. It's a complementary. They will do different things. So yes, they can both be looking at Proxima b and provide us information about it. Would Webb be able to give us biomarkers? I'm not so sure. In fact, I would think Hubble would be better at that because it's got the spectroscopy data. I think that would be of more use, but I could be wrong on that. Obviously, having them both look at a potential exoplanet that could be habitable will give us a wealth of information, and that's the best I can say about that. As for SLS, it is Congress that has demanded that SLS be used to launch the Europa mission. The problem with using SLS for any of this is the cost. As I pointed out, $43 billion to build 3 capsules and 2 rockets. $43 billion. Well, if you just the rockets divide that in half, that's $21.5 billion per rocket. Now, of course, this is development costs, so it wouldn't be quite that much. But I've seen numbers; they generally run in the range of around 10 to 14 billion per launch. That's almost NASA's entire yearly budget. The science program can't afford it. They will be forced to use it for Europa because the money won't be coming out of the science budget. But if science has to pay for launches on SLS, they won't be able to launch anything. The only way SLS works is if it's mandated by Congress, who then gives the money to do it. It's important to note that Congress, though it's financed the first 2 rockets and 3 capsules, has not funded anything beyond that. And to be honest, I don't know how they will be able to afford it. I also know that once the private industry starts to launch regularly, such as the Falcon Heavy, and doing things for 1/10 the cost and much more effectively, it's going to become increasingly difficult to spend the money on SLS when you've got something that can do the same thing for a lot less.
Robert, did NASA really spend $300 for a screwdriver and things like that.